We're live. Hello. Good thinking. I
Hello.
don't know what that was in response to. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 300. Nope. Welcome to another band. Nope. Welcome to another band batch music discussion
We'll
about
come back.
the
We'll
Bad Batch, season 3, episodes 10 and 11. I'm really excited to talk about these episodes, actually. Lots of music.
lots of music, lots of plot, and lots of what was it? I feel like we were rewarded with two intense episodes after 2 weeks of
We were rewarded.
um,
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks of kind of not
Kind of
much
slower. Yeah.
slower. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Good thinking. What is that in response to?
Oh, there's
Hey,
an
I'm
earlier
wondering.
comment.
Oh, there's an earlier comment. Oh,
Oh, to pretend
The eclipse is
Fairy
the Death
24
Star.
fan says, "Hello everyone, glad to be back after I took last week off. Excited to hear the discussion." Oh, yes, I see you have
I'm
it.
excited to see the eclipse Monday. I'm going to pretend it's the Death Star. Hi, Jeannie. Wait, that the eclipse is
I
on
think
Monday.
pretending it's the
Okay.
Death Star is really fun sounding.
That sounds
Right?
terrifying, though.
Yeah, it does sound terrifying.
But how many chances do you get in your life to pretend there's a Death Star? Not that many.
Yeah, I
Hopefully there's
guess.
no
I
real.
guess. That's fun though.
Every day. What are you talking about?
Isn't there a song, that really sad song about the Death Star, about there uh, it's kind of a deep dive, but I feel like in one of the books with Leia, there's like a lullaby that people on what was Leia's home
Oh,
on Alderaan sing, and it's called like the Moons of Alderaan. But Alderaan doesn't have any moons. The only time it had a moon was when the Death Star appeared,
Oh, that's
yeah. I know
depressing.
what you're talking
and
about.
then they like adapted that into a lullaby song, like
Yeah,
a
it's in
really
Bloodline.
depressing lullaby song. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
sad. So you could sing that and look at the eclipse.
There you go.
Mirror Bright,
Mirror
traditional
Bright.
lullaby
You're
from
right.
Alderaan.
Hmm.
Since Alderaan never had a natural satellite, Leia speculated, much to her horror, that many Alderaanian children must have thought of Mirror Bright when they saw the moon-sized Death Star. But that actually was a really good thing to bring up. That was very relevant. Nice.
Yay!
Um, Very cool, Gary. I don't know if I'm going. I don't think I'll be able to see the eclipse. Right? Can we see the eclipse in LA?
Mm,
Not really.
I haven't been paying attention,
I
so
haven't
probably
looked.
not.
I live under a rock.
Yeah. Anyway, Matthew says I plan on going to see the eclipse on Monday, as well as the main path is happening just a bit south where I live. Oh, nice. That's nice. Yeah, I just looked at a map. I think California is not really. I don't think we're gonna get very much of it. I might be wrong. I need to look that up. I need to figure that out because if I can see it, then maybe I'll try.
Maybe we can have a band batch singing of
Of
Mirror
Mirror
Bright.
Bright sounds
Is
good.
there a tune? Is there an
Oh,
official
we'd have to. I think we'd have to
melody?
write that.
Yeah. Um,
Yes, I saw the Tales of the Empire trailer.
Yes,
I didn't
yes.
because I don't want to watch trailers
You don't watch
until I
trailers.
don't want to
Ah,
watch trailers.
you and my
You
dad.
should watch this one.
It's good. It's
It's
interesting.
relevant.
It's
Um,
really.
so we have 2 episodes to talk about today.
It's even more relevant than Mirror Bright.
So we have 2 episodes to watch today, and sorry, not to watch today, to talk about today. And should we just go in order, like do everything from episode 10 and then do everything from episode 11?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Um, Episode 10. Okay, there's just so much music. There's actually so much in this. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Same.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that a lot of really great music seems to be coming out of the Tantus episodes specifically, because it has such. I think it's because they've established the Kiners have established this very strong thematic world for what that laboratory sounds like,
Mm-hmm. It's very
musically and
synthy.
obviously sound design. Yeah, very synthy, very arpeggiated in a way, or sequenced
Mm-hmm.
in a way. So like for example, I mean we'll get into the melodies, but like for example, everybody, arpeggiated. If I had like a chord, if I were to arpeggiate it, it would be one note at a time in a sequence.
It's the backdoor assistant from the invisible door.
Ah.
I needed my violin.
Sorry,
It's
we
so
were
funny. It would have been
demonstrating
funnier
an
if it was like a
arpeggio.
hand that like reached in from the side of the screen. Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, so arpeggiating is like one note at a time, or a sequence. Can mean a lot of things, but in like synthesizer world, a sequence is like one note, something that either repeats or has been programmed into a sequencer, can be an arpeggiation, which can be a melody, which can be a rhythm, which can be all sorts of things.
Like I think of Stranger Things.
This episode is giving so many Stranger Things vibes.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's a fan of that soundtrack, like I am
I'm definitely
fanatic
a fan.
about, love that soundtrack.
Yeah.
We could on one of these examples we'll get into. I want to talk about why it sounds that way.
Okay.
Something really special about synthesizers.
Well,
I wanted to just add that I like that you first brought that up because as I was taking notes for this episode, I like struggled to use the word arpeggio a number of times because I felt like it was almost like not the relevant term, as if like maybe like because arpeggio feels like a very specific thing, and so I
yeah.
like that you called it sequenced. It's kind of like we changed, like arpeggio is a pretty classical word, and so it's nice that when we change genres to something that's more of an electronic world, that there's a vocabulary shift.
And it's fun
Yeah.
because there's actually on many synthesizers, there's that feature, a sequencer or some kind of keyboard will have something called an arpeggiator, and you're able to like literally hold a chord, and it will do the sequencing, arpeggiating, and all sorts of patterns for you, which is basically all the music of the 80s. Not all the music of the 80s, but like a lot of really great synth pop does.
I do think that arpeggio still fits, but it is kind of, I mean, because an arpeggio, let's see, a type of broken chord in which the notes that compose a chord are individually sounded in progressive rising or descending order. Like if you say that these are the notes, then the arpeggio would just be like, it's a rolled chord basically. And you could automate it to do that, or like different orders or whatever. But here I feel like I don't know if Justin, if we're thinking of the same examples, but like let me just play something from the episode, and then we can talk about like how it is somewhat arpeggiated or not. And then everyone, James is like 5 minutes ago, he was, or 15 minutes ago, he was like something family, something. So some family thing.
Something dark side.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the dark side got a hold of James.
Yeah. He's in Hemlock's lab. Okay. Oh yeah, if you've never been to one of these streams, when we play examples, we usually be like to make the other people guess and the chat guess where we can hear this in the episode. So. On loop.
Yeah, that's
Justin knows.
I know this one.
Anyone else know where we hear that in episode 10? And a side question would be, what would you call that? Like, what do you think all the times that it pops up, what do you think it is referring to?
Totally. I know that it appears a couple times in this episode. A couple of really cool. It's two specific moments that I like that were really cool for me, powerful. in its use.
Yeah. Anyone? And then there's another time it pops up kind of in a modified way that I feel like almost combines the ideas from two different new musical ideas. You know, yeah, okay. Justin's on my wavelength. I'm trying to, and then there's another thing. Let's see. No one has the answer yet. So, nope.
Ah, I do have my guess.
Okay, what's
I
your
just
guess?
listened back to confirm it. It is what I call the spooky repeating intervals.
Spooky repeating intervals. I like that.
Because that was where I was like, I don't know what to call that. Like repeating intervals, I guess. It's not an arpeggio. It's more
Yeah,
of a.
I
But
shall.
it's when I heard it at like I went to 450 where it's like hemlock. It's hemlock in the lab.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy hemlock, scary hemlock.
Yep.
Yeah, we hear it really early with he starts talking about the M counts with
Yeah, specifically.
debriefing
Yep, debriefing Emery.
Emery.
And the first time it goes on for
I
quite some time. It's like
Uh-huh.
goes from 453 to 535. So it's kind
Let's
of
see
a.
here. Shift 3.
Also, Justin, was that the Deep Mind synth you played?
This one is this is the Micro Freak.
F412. Oh, nice.
Nice.
Right, and it's got that hold on, it's got that uh I didn't figure out the notes underneath, but it was like,
Like E.
oh, it's an E. And that goes on and on and on and on and on in cool ways. It's got that underneath that or even lower probably.
Yeah.
Really
And
dark kind of
the
a
bass
thing.
notes kind of increased the more repetitions. The first time it was kind of light, and the second time it kind of went instead of a D sharp, it kind of stayed on the E, like.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great, and we hear this again too. I remember we hear it like a whole step down. I think with after Jax gets stunned, our green child of the earth, water, and fire tribes of children,
Oh,
the red, green, and blue
my best
children,
friend.
to be added to, I guess Omega would be error. Um, but the green child, Jax, right? When he gets stunned, that we hear this theme again come in pretty ominously, down a whole step, I believe. And what's so cool about this sound and why it's so Stranger Things giving is because it uses this detuned kind of a sound. And I know we've talked about it during Andor, and I know we've talked about detuning stuff a couple times. But what it does is, at least in synthesizer world, it's kind of like the chorus effect. One violin's a solo, two violins that are out of tune are like not very fun to listen to, but three and more, it's like now it's a vibe kind of a thing. The more things you get playing, the bigger and thicker the sound gets. So how synthesizers will recreate that is they'll stack a number of oscillators, the sound making buzz waveforms on top of each other, and very slightly detune them.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very slightly. So, like, for example, so that's a big detuned kind of sound. But if I do not detune it, and here's more detuning. until it just sounds like a cluster if I go up an octave. It's like as they all come tuning together, kind of like a Xenakis piece, if anyone is super into weird Xenakis music. Here's a composer that wrote music based on architecture. It's math. It's great. So anyways, with that feature, you can get these really low rumbly things. And if you add the filter, which was that sound is featured so much in Stranger Things. It's great. It's a feature of old analog equipment that would get out of tune naturally. So we kind of just had to accept that it's like, well, this is what it's going to sound like, and it became an endearing quality of old synthesizers.
And we've talked about this like in our Andor streams last year, but like even I put Justin on I put James. Sorry.
That's really funny.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. This is Justin. I'm sorry. Oh my God. We talked about this also during Andor, of course, because of all the synths. And even just a regular acoustic grand piano can have this effect.
Yep.
Because a piano has at least each note that you hit on a piano has either 2 or 3 strings associated with it. So if one of those 3 strings is not in tune with the others, that you get a little bit of a not a very straight tone. Like it's a very, you hear multiple things happening. It's kind of like, think of like a piano that hasn't been tuned in a long time. It kind of has a weird like ring to it.
Yeah. Think of like old saloon honky tonk kind of style pianos. That's like the feature of them. And in the guitar pedal world, or in the pedal world, we call that a chorus pedal or an ensemble pedal, which is basically mimicking the same idea.
Yep. Slightly do. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Jeannie. Yeah, I know. Justin
Yes.
Omega is the Pikachu to the Omega is the Pikachu to the Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander children in the vault.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Which one's Charmander though?
Eva.
The orange one, Eva.
Oh, the orange one.
Yeah. Nice.
I thought the blue one was Chuchi, Senator Chuchi for a second.
Oh, like the
or
blue
like
kid?
her sister. That's my conspiracy, because we haven't been introduced to her, that character yet. We don't know her name.
She's smart. She doesn't talk to anyone, or
yeah, that's how
I think she's more strategically inclined than the other two.
Is the detuned synth from the Micro Freak, Justin?
Yeah, that's the Micro Freak, and probably what I played earlier as well was the Micro Freak. I've got examples today on the Micro Freak and the Deep Mind, of course, and one of my samplers, the model samples, which we'll play later.
Sweet.
But yeah, so this area, the notes, yeah. Now, did it change? Okay, I was having a hard time with this one, Xanthe. So lend me your beautiful musical perfect ears. I swear that, and this is me and my very terrible ears, I can hear frequencies, but I can't hear notes sometimes. I don't know how this works for me.
That's interesting.
Where am I? Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a. It does that. Doesn't it go up to the C when we actually get the C there, and then it sits, then kind of resolves, kind of a thing? I was having a hard time, and I convinced myself that's what it was, but I was also convincing myself that it wasn't.
So it stays on the B, but as you can see in the third measure here, the C is still reflected. So you are hearing a C, but it's just when I do hear it, I do also still hear the upper B. Mm-hmm. So like it's similar, right? Whether it's, but it's Sorry, my synth is much less accurate.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's just got that dissonance in there.
Yeah, it
I have a
does
hard
have
time
that.
with those intervals sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, but you were hearing it there, just a different octave.
Right. And yeah, it's got all these great these moments have all these great sounds, specifically with the Emery. It's very in the background, it's very brooding, and it's kind of growing. It's like the Christina, I think you were saying, what does it represent? What were we thinking it represented? It's like, is it the children? Is it the project? Is this Project Necromancer's theme in a way? Because it's also
I
got
have
these
another
like really
guess.
great,
I have another guess
these really
too, but
great like
Christina, you go first.
these moments in there of just filter sweeping drones.
What's your guess,
Yes.
Christina?
I feel like it's a captivity theme, and I
Mm.
also feel like it has a strong. I think that this is like the one of the best examples of. I think that maybe the Kiners are bringing in some elements from Andor and uh from Ludwig Göransson.
Really?
Did I say his name right? Like I strongly felt, so I actually felt it so strongly that I went back and watched the episode or some episodes of Andor, and it is very true. The prison episodes of Andor, while the way that he does the sound, while the way that Göransson, am I saying that okay?
I don't
Do you
know.
call that
Goranson is what I hear, but
okay?
I could be wrong.
If yeah, I mean, like the soundtrack there is very smooth and nuanced, and it's not as easy as the Bad Batch score to like pick out specific themes. It's a lot more like lots of stuff stacked a lot of the time in Andor, but at the same time I really think that this feeling of like this theme, and it's very similar. I like, after I went through, I made a point. I was like, okay, how many almost Andor references are
It
there? And
is
there were
very
several.
similar. Yeah. I was thinking too.
Yeah.
The very first episode this season, I was like,
Yeah.
it's the captivity arpeggiation sequencer synth theme.
Yeah.
I like this.
And
So,
then I didn't make a connect.
no, go ahead.
I'll just add my little two bits about the Andor thing. I didn't make this connection at first, but someone on the internet made a connection that, I mean, like the vault is designed exactly the same way as the Andor prison. The the design is actually the same. Almost the same. So it makes me think like, oh my gosh, like maybe that's where Hemlock, other than Project Necromancer, maybe Hemlock revolutionized the prison system to get the whole inmates as perpetual workers thing going on.
Yeah.
I just think that's interesting to think that maybe that's one of his big contributions to Empire Science is the Hemlock would totally come up with those floors, the electrocution floors. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He is. Like,
yeah,
he would do that.
yeah.
Um,
So
and
that's my
then
2 cents about.
I do hear the similarities and concur, and also think it's probably not an intentional reference, but as I know this isn't actually your name, but as Lisa is also bringing up, sounds like Blade Runner. Like I do feel like there is something about this
Mm.
kind of sound, and I don't know. There's something. I feel like
It's
this won't be the only. I feel like there probably are other science fiction y things that will also do a similar thing as this too.
Yeah, Blade Runner has
Mhm.
that big Vangelis, big analog. I'm listing the famous synthesizers of Blade Runner, the Yamaha CS80, Prophet 5, these very, very like revered synthesizers that made basically this whole genre of style of scoring in a weird way,
Mm-hmm.
with these synths.
Yeah,
Talk,
maybe that's even a better way to say it is like there's a family of music that we don't often hear yet, and it's coming in more and more.
mhm.
Like in Star Wars.
And the Kiners are bringing it
Mm-hmm.
in at least in in this score. Um, And obviously Goranson used it a lot in Andor.
You like in Mandalorian, or do you mean Nicholas Bertel?
I get, oh, you know what? I am terrible about switching names up. It's my like
Okay, I'm
worst
thinking of
Nicholas
Nicholas
Bertel.
Bertel. Okay.
feature of, yeah, okay, Nicholas Bertel. Thanks.
They've done so much of Goranson's music that we're like,
Glad.
yeah, totally,
It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Like it's Goranson. It has to be. It's
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely
clearly it was him.
Oppenheimer.
Sorry, Nicholas.
But I like that gosh, I wish I wasn't like that, but such is life.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
I don't know anybody. um,
Okay, so the thing I associate this theme with the most is actually so far is Dr. Carr's uneasiness.
Mhm.
oh, interesting, because I had a different one
Oh, okay.
for that.
'Cause I feel like the
Which
reason is like I feel like we hear this music when we're seeing her face being like, uh. But it might change if we
so
hear other episodes and then I see it in different contexts. But so far,
that's true.
that's what I feel like it's
I was
most
just
associated with.
I was about to say, yeah, we've only really seen it there. There's a moment at the very, very end of this episode that these all these musical ideas kind of like form a new theme, because we have this one that just appeared. This is the first time we've heard this one, pretty sure. And then we
I think so.
have the what did we name it? The Tantus time ticking theme, time t t t t t t t
Wait,
t
which
the
one?
time the
Oh, the
ba,
just the
ba,
heartbeat
ba,
thing.
ba, 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 ba,
Oh,
ba,
oh,
ba.
oh.
That one.
Yeah,
um,
it's
that
something.
appears in the end credits.
Mm-hmm.
And we get this other one later. Where's hold on? I'm gonna shift over to the Deep Mind. Right, we get this like at the very, very end. Right, I'll go up an octave.
Is this at the very end?
Mm-hmm. It's when this theme starts, right? This starts around, or actually, does anybody have a guess? We already said it's towards the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say like around. Is it when Eva is calling Emery out
I
for lying about Jax?
it might have appeared there too. The one I'm thinking of.
Is it on synth?
Oh, it's on a sense. Okay, hold on. So it's right around that same area. So I'm trying to see if it appears there too.
It's after Cad Bane.
No, so this comes right after
Okay.
uh, Eva calls her out. This starts around like actually like right at 21 minutes,
Oh, okay.
and it's when she's testing blood.
Oh,
And she's
yeah.
starting to look through the names, and to me, this was the Emery has second thoughts moment, which is like a
Mm.
combination of like this routine, this weird like oddly classical esque chord
Mm-hmm.
structure, and this like synth arpeggiation kind of a thing going on. Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
I don't want with the morning. Da, 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 da. Right, that's the
I
same.
have no idea what that is.
Oh, Hotel. Isn't it the Hotel California by
Oh,
the Eagles?
oh, I
Is
don't
that the
know.
same?
Oh,
I know
right.
that song, but it didn't register.
Yeah.
Keisha Castle Hughes does this wonderful job of being startled and hesitant to talk to these children. That's so true. Yeah, she is wonderfully awkward when she talks to the kids. Yeah, like yeah, nice sounds, and it comes at 21:13.
Mhm.
Cool. Thanks, Max. Um, I'm going to play something else so that
Yeah.
it can tie into this other thing. Okay. I guess this one will do. Sorry. Okay, this will do. Okay. Okay. I'm practicing. Okay,
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
there we go. Okay. This is the if you follow me on Twitter, this is what I posted today. Where I was like, can you guess what this is from? Anyway. Nope. But it's more like sorry. I'm like, what
It's
opera
okay.
is
I
this?
tried to do this one myself and I gave up.
Really it was weirdly difficult to hear.
Yeah. That's pretty darn close though. I'm very
Yeah.
I have what I transcribed and I'm not even going to
Oh,
try.
okay.
I'm very curious to see what you did because I had such a hard time with that one.
I have the top voice and then sorry.
But then the bottom thing like stays and then it shifts and it's not quite and then the glassy harmonics of it. It was driving
Yeah.
me crazy. I was
Anyway,
gonna come in and be like, I figured it out. Yeah, okay, I know where that is.
do
Anybody in the
anyone else
chat know?
anyone else recall that?
Very weird, glassy, almost like gave me old Star Tours vibes. Like
Totally
that
like the
kind of like
doo-doo-doo.
that announcement kind of
Yep.
sound. I thought it was an announcement sound for a moment. Someone was gonna get over the intercom.
Do you recognize it, Christina? I'm
Not
doing a very absolutely
necessarily.
terrible rendition of it, so I need to find something more chimesy. Let's see. I need to print out like a cheat sheet to which the order of all these, because I have to scroll through them one at a time.
What is
Please my
that keyboard
excuse.
you're playing?
I'm playing the Yamaha CP5 stage piano, which comes
Mm.
with a bunch of inbuilt. Okay, that's no.
Nice.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. Okay, it goes fast. And it's more belly. Like there's definitely more of an attack to it.
Mhm.
The entire episode sounded like that, just eerie and chilling. I mean, that particular thing did play a lot.
It
It came
played a
up a
few
lot.
times. And it was kind of weird. Like
Yeah, it was sounded weird.
it took me out of it a little bit because it was just so like 80s horror movie synth FM synth kind of a sound.
Yeah. Speaking of things that took me out, the triplets that we were just talking about, this one. The first time it happens, when it
Mhm.
lasts for a very long time, that it was distracting. It was hard for me to pay attention to the dialogue because the music was so demanded. Like my focus wanted to go to the music there.
Mhm.
But yeah, this little thing, it's just a little chime that happens. The first time is at 4:27, I believe. Although this is kind
Mhm.
of a funny idea too. Imagine at some imperial facility, they make announcements like, today the cafeteria will be serving meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and peas. Doo 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 doo. That would be like unnecessarily creepy. Like, why do you have to?
CT55, please come to the desk.
Right. So like check around 4:27.
Yeah, that's 27.
It's like in Greece, the sweet little the sweet office lady who has like a set of actual chimes. It's always, yeah. The
Hit
Empire does
420.
not support such freedom of expression. You said it like 4:25.
4:27. Yeah, 4:27, and then again at 4:35.
See, I hear something like way down there.
Sorry.
It's weird.
You hear that? What do you hear?
Hold on, let me hear it again.
Let me see.
I think I hear that and more in the example at 6:14 it comes
okay.
back.
It does like slightly change, I think.
6:11. 6:11. Yeah, it's as at the very end of this scene. It does. That was the version. That was the one that I was listening to, and I
Ah,
swear there's a underneath, and then we have that or whatever the it ended up being.
I'm hearing the same one, but I'm hearing like,
There's a low part, right?
yeah. Yeah, there's like a string drone type of thing. Like that kind of. Yeah. And then on top of that, but with. Sorry, we're. Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Sorry, we got a little too obsessive about
It
that
was
one.
it was cool because then that low string drone turned into like a detuned synth thing, I think, right after. This nice weaving of sounds.
I feel like that is also what the detuning, or like maybe a sort of decay to something. I think there was like a decay or something that made it, something made it hard to hear the stable pitch. I don't know if it was just because it was really high, or if the sound was decaying really quickly, or if in the decay it was kind of.
It's like they put like a little like a timbral decay with it, so you get that initial burst of harmonics, and then they just go away, but the sound still remains,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of thing.
Good point, Matthew. When Emery pulls up an image of Omega on her tablet, I realized that she's basically looking at an image of herself when she was younger, as they are both clones. I feel like Crosshair would kill to hear that announcement. That meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and peas. That's funny. So I'm going to put... Okay, so this is chime, I believe, was associated with like the M-Gout kids. And that's what I think it is. If the Kiners are in the chat, feel free to
What was
feel free to
mine
correct me.
mine was backwards for you.
Oh wait, no, it's not backwards. Wait, I can't.
This,
I don't know what we're. Okay.
that
Oh.
that's what I thought I was trying to get.
Okay, wait. E flat, yes, and then A flat and B flat. Okay. I don't
And
see
then a
B flat.
natural, and
But then
I thought it was
Then a G. Oh, yeah. The third one, I'm hearing a G and an E. Okay.
like a, but underneath this like E flat drone weird thing.
Yeah. I think it's. I do feel like the first one's a major seventh, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Writers, help us.
Yeah.
Comment below.
Yeah.
subscribe, comment, help us.
Yeah, and also how did you? I'm curious how you came up. How did you stumble upon this?
Yeah,
Since the Kiners are in the chat, of course. There's a lot of low distorted drones in this episode, even at the start when the alien informs Cad Bane of that baby. Low distorted drones. Sorry, distorted. What did I say? Distorted. Yeah, there were a lot of low drones and distorted drones. I can't remember specifically the Cad Bane part. I can't remember specifically hearing it at Cad Bane, but I'll go back and check. Also, Jeannie says, Emery said, I don't have that kind of power. And Nalase said, don't you? It made me wonder if Emery had some kind of mutation like Omega. I
I
wasn't
keep
even thinking
wondering
along
about that
those
too.
lines.
I'm like, how is Omega super special if Emery and Omega are super similar?
Well, it's interesting too because Emery said that she got tested in the beginning.
Oh, did
Did
she?
she?
I didn't remember that.
I feel like everyone's gotten tested. I feel like there was a weird conversation in the first episode with Emery, very brief, with like everyone here gets tested. I've been tested or something like that. Everyone gives blood or so I wonder if Emery or maybe Emery hasn't been and she's got the same M count and no one knows.
I feel like she couldn't get past that though, right?
But that's what's weird. So like what power does she have? I mean she has the power to do, rise up and do the right thing and but
Another thing, I feel like it could. There are many ways to interpret that, right? Because what Nalase said was kind of throwing down the gauntlet a little bit, but also a genuine question. And what I think is the sense that I get is that Emery has the power maybe to have a one shot type of thing, like Nalase did. Nalase, you did one thing and then got, it is now in a cell. So Emery probably has one shot to do something, but not much more. Like she doesn't have power like Hemlock has power, but she has enough power to do something, a very calculated something.
Yeah, I'm
Arcfont
wondering the same
says,
thing, Jeannie.
did
Did
Emery
Emery
test
test?
her own blood, right? Or was she cross-checked or something? Or did Nalase test her blood and protect her? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
Nalase has some sleight of hand. She's very, I mean, she's clearly sneakier, way sneakier than anyone gave her credit for.
poor Nalase. Every time.
Yeah.
Her speech. I'm really paying attention more to speech because Christina, you bring it up so brilliantly every time, and her speech gets slower and slower every time. And I liked when she said specimens, like she waits specimens. It's so like every syllable has like an extra syllable in there.
Perhaps Nalase was also destroying Emery's blood test. Right. And then Arcfont says, I don't know that Emery and Omega are textually super similar. And I
What
don't
does
know either.
textually mean there? Like, does it mean actually or?
I think, correct me or feel free to jump in, Ender, but what I take from that is the show doesn't seem to be intentionally trying to make us think about intent. It doesn't seem like in the text, in what's being written in the show, we're meant to draw. It doesn't seem like the show is trying to make us associate them too hard. Like they're not dropping very many hints. We will have a resolution when Omega is there. It's like the chime is it's like the chime is counting off attendance of the M count kids. Omega is the last lingering absent count. That's funny.
Ta-da!
I like that idea.
So it's like specifically in people's language. Okay, now I'm confused. I don't know that Emery and Omega are textually super similar, specifically in people's language, like in the way people talk about them.
Mm.
I interpreted that to mean in the way they actually speak, in the sense that I do think Omega doesn't really have a lot of well, I'll say what Emery has, and then Omega does not have that. What Emery has is she really does go since I just watched Andor again, on program. Like she really falls
Oh,
into scripted dialogue, and that is none of your concern. Like and you can tell that and it's part of what makes her conversation uh, with Ava more interesting is that when Ava asks questions that Emery's not familiar with, Emery tries to say the most lab hemlocky scripty thing she can think of. She's like, "You may call me Dr. Carr." Like that's probably what Hemlock would like me to say, and things like that. And then the only thing that she was really comfortable with is that is none of your concern, because she said that to Omega so many times. She's very used to that. Um, I guess I'm just saying that Emery has a lot of
I like that
um,
she's definitely on program.
she's on program. Yeah, naturally. And that's where her comfort is. She's comforted when she's doing what she's supposed to do. And Omega is
Yeah,
definitely not.
yeah, that's for sure. Emery, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's like,
Omega is more of like how Cassian was not ready,
mhm.
not
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting too because when Emery is talking to, I just find the line when she says, "They're children, like I was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were all." I don't know. It's like an
You're going
interesting,
to discard them like you discarded me.
like really recent, like a realization for herself, being so programmed and being so, I'm a clone, I'm a this, but no, I was a child. I was a child like this. I wasn't just a, and I think she's realizing the childhood she didn't have. Does that
Yeah, and
make
I
sense?
think, and in that context, it makes sense why she's having trouble taking action, or she is
Hmm.
feeling things, but um, in order for her to denounce everything that is going on and come to term and like actually realize how horrible it is,
Hmm.
she would be simultaneously realizing how horrible her life was too, and it's not, it's doesn't always feel safe to admit that, like
Yeah.
she's not really in a position where she probably can feels that she can do that, like basically, yeah, because she has the same fate and it would be like so much to reckon with.
Hmm.
It would be very overwhelming. She needs significant therapy.
And
Yeah.
Hemlock is not a good therapist.
No,
No.
no, but he's a doctor. Yes, Emery has spent more time being fed lines. Omega escaped with the batch and was exposed to more unique ideas, but it doesn't mean she doesn't have Omega's heart. She just never learned how to think outside the box.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Omega is really good at picking up on being fed lines because she's the one who picks up on like money schemes, like on how to be like, can I bribe you with these credits? Like when she and Crosshair are on that one planet and
Yeah.
needing to get off of it. Like
She's an
it's interesting.
oppressive
Omega picked
haggler.
up on that stuff really fast. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But she's been being programmed with not as horrible stuff. Um, so the piece of music that occurs. Okay, so there's a there's a bit of music that occurs that kind of I feel like combines the ideas from the past two
Hmm.
things, and it's like,
Ooh.
Mm.
and that occurs. Well, does anyone know when that occurs?
It occurs, I believe, when she meets Ava for the first time. We get a hint of that. And then when Eva's like, "I'm Eva," right?
Yep.
And then does it appear again
I
when
don't
Eva's
think
calling
so.
her out? Of course, for me, now that we've been doing this so much, I'm hearing what's that? There's that big '80s power rock song that has
Oh.
that same. What's it? It's got that voice. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh.
dun, dun, right?
I feel like James
What
would
is
know
it?
this for
I
some
know this.
reason.
Yeah, he would. I'm sure
Anybody,
I know
chat,
it,
help
but
me out.
Is it Lenny Kravitz?
Someday love will find you. Dun, dun,
Okay, I
dun,
don't know this.
dun, dun, dun. Oh, what's that? Okay, hold on. Somebody,
that's a good one.
someday love will find you. It's by Journey, Separate Ways.
Okay.
Ding, ding, bing, ding, bing, ding, ba, da, ga, da, da, da.
Nice.
Okay. Separate
Sorry,
ways?
Separate Ways by
Good catch, Justin.
Bad Batch, brought to you by Journey.
Yeah. Um,
We needed
well,
some journey in the Star Wars
Yeah,
universe. Like, what are the chances that Star Wars didn't somehow get journey as well?
so Justin, you're right.
that's the one. Okay, yeah.
It happens when Dr. Carr is interacting with the kids, with Eva specifically. She's like, I like your glasses. And Carr's like, thank you. What's your name? Separate Ways by Journey. Yep. That's right, Gary. Um, and I feel like it combines, first of all, the kids thing, because it's like on the chimey thing. Oh, I'm just having a realization. No, I'm not. Okay, sorry. Sorry. False alarm. False revelation. Yeah, here we go. Because, and then it also obviously it has the same kind of triplet idea, but instead of a triplet, it's just stripped down to eighth notes. So instead of,
Mm.
it's just, sorry. But it could easily be. Oh, which was also, oh, that's funny. The Journey song is in Stranger Things season
It's
4.
also in Stranger
That's
Things.
funny. Anyway, so yeah, it was a little bit of a combination.
Yeah, it was definitely. They've been like combining all these themes. It's been great.
Mm-hmm.
So much musical development with such simplicity, um, and in such a confined world, which is interesting too because it's like in let's stretch this for a sec. If in creating a confining environment sound world, they've confined themselves to a very particular sound world and arpeggiated world almost in a sense. It's like or like a it has to be these single note sequences and it's got to be in an order and it's got to be always moving and it's interesting, and it's all about confinement, you know. And you could do so much with any of these sequences,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Hmm. It's like,
Jeannie's point. Oh, go ahead.
just to kind of rephrase exactly what you just said, and like it's it's like you can repeat the same actions over and over again in confinement, but they all, they may take different forms, but they're all taking place in the confinement.
Right, and if you and
And I,
this is
yeah.
yeah, and if this is pretty cool for a composer too because it kind of gives you a lot of really interesting freedom. Because if at episode 1 I tell everybody this is the sound, and then in episode 2 I could give it a little ooh, it gets more mysterious, and then a new character goes a different way, but I can still keep that world, you know, and just
Mm.
endlessly live in it in any combination that I want, and it's still going to keep me there as long as I don't really go too bizarre out of that world. It's pretty
Yeah.
Totally.
brilliant.
These synthy ice tones they're so very evocative of the juvenile kiddie sounds clashing with the adult knowledge of the science of what is really going on.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
I
I
like
feel
that.
like juvenile, like synthy icy tone sounds are often used in like a horror
Mm-hmm.
context or like high pitched children's voices. It's like cute and
Totally.
horrific.
Yeah, anytime you're watching a movie and like a children's song comes in
Yeah.
on like a Celeste or something like that, you know someone's gonna die. Like that's how it is.
The only word I can think of is dissonant. I know it technically isn't, but it is the feeling.
Mm,
Maybe that's that detuned kind of. Even if the music isn't dissonant, the sounds can be dissonant, if that makes sense.
Well, it feels like a perversion of like
Mm-hmm.
something that should be innocent and pure.
perversion, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Anyone have other moments from this episode in the chat? Do you have any
Not talk
favorites?
about favorites, but for this episode, we definitely can't not talk about Cad Bane.
Yep.
No,
I love
can't
Cad
not talk
Bane.
about Cad.
I love Toto. His little moment of shut the kid up, and he gives it. I did it. I'm like, good for you, Toto.
I did it.
You did something. All on your own. I like that they use that they have that sound of spurs, which I'm still. What
Mm-hmm.
is he writing? What is he writing that he needs spurs for? But he's like, what is he? Why? But it's great because I didn't notice it until in the first watch, but in the second watch, when he comes to the door and it's just a shadow underneath, and you're like, oh, something bad's gonna happen. You hear the spurs, so it's giving it away right there. It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And we didn't get the Western guitar like we've gotten in past renditions of Cad Bane, but we still got his bump da 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 dum bump
Mm-hmm.
da 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 dum kind of a thing. And then we get a little rattle later when we Emery meets him, which I thought was kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah.
More specifically, it's sorry. Let's put on a piano. Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which is
Mm-hmm.
like a little mixed up Dies Irae, right?
Mm.
But it's
Yep.
Yeah.
there is a Dies Irae in it. If you start here, Dies Irae.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
This
actually heard
episode, the
that
Cad Bane
theme. Yeah.
music, it's such a successful example of percussive piano.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I love a good
Um,
example of percussive piano. It's great.
yeah. And you were talking, Xanthi, earlier about how like a low piano strings, there's like three strings, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if some of them are not tuned quite the same, then it creates that detune effect. So then that them choosing to use this low percussive piano, like there are so many notes already kind of in a low note. Is that a good way to say it? Like when you hear those low notes at the piano, they're very resonant. Like it's more
Mm-hmm.
than one note.
Yeah, and you
And
hear
that's
lots of
really effective
You
overtones.
hear
because it
the
blends nicely. Yeah, it blends with our detuned synth vibe.
And it's
Totally.
cool too because most pianos, once you get down to the low notes, the lowest notes I think only have one string, and then
Mm.
the ones above it will have two, and then eventually they'll get to like the three string combinations. But some of those lower notes only just have one big, tightly wound, thicker string. It's just
Mm.
like you said, just full of harmonics, full of
Yeah,
overtones.
just like the very last few, like
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
2, 3. Is it not an octave?
Hey, yeah, they'll have those big ones that there'll be two,
And then
and
it's
then the rest
2,
of
and then
them will
it's
have
3.
threes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But also another
like
thing with Cad Bane having that low piano is that I feel like an acoustic piano does also evoke the Western, the honky tonk, whatever, which
Oh
Cad
yeah.
Bane also is adjacent to. If
You know
not,
what's interesting?
mhm.
Sorry, I just realized
No,
something. But continue.
that's basically what I was saying. Yeah,
Well, it's interesting that you just said that because Cad Bane has this for this example, and this piano part is in the other bigger westerny theme, but
yeah,
less prominent, but it's there. So he's going bump, 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 da-da-da-da-da, right?
yeah.
And on a piano, acoustic westerny, and totally not Crosshair Assassin is with a synthesizer going bow, 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 right? Different notes, but kind of the same idea, but worlds apart. That's interesting.
Well, you mean
Totally.
like, sorry, that
Uh-huh.
one.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one versus
but the other one,
obviously they're different, but
yeah. But they're both low. They're both kind of jazzy, like
and they both got that bow, bow,
yeah,
bow, the hit, kind of a thing.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Assassins of different creeds, but of one theme,
Yeah.
one motif.
Matthew says it's because Cad Bane is inspired by Lee Van Cleef's character, Angel Eyes, from Leon's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So he has the same hat and
Mhm.
spurs. Yeah, it's just funny how in taking inspiration from that, but then that's enough of a cultural shorthand for us to get it without visually seeing that the sound matches what we see on screen, aka spurs. So
Yeah.
it's interesting the leaps that I guess that artists make based on prior or assumed cultural knowledge.
Mhm.
Yes, the middle and high strings on piano have 3, the medium and low ones have 2, and the low ones have 1. I
It
just
looks like
feel
Christina
bad.
has a piano for us.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Show
Yeah,
us.
but I'm
Ooh,
getting a good amount of light. Is that better light? Yes, you can
that's
see better.
better.
But I'm having to physically hold up the lid,
Oh, geez,
which
don't hurt yourself.
Yeah,
is
don't hurt
okay. I
yourself.
feel like fan. But yeah, like you can see the. No, you can't see that hammer yet. There. You probably can hear. Is that what he's playing? Is it F sharps on the higher notes?
It's E, F sharp, and G.
Ah.
Yep.
Yeah. But probably down here.
Yep.
You hear all that pitch?
Yeah.
There's so much overtone splash.
That's why when you do
Yeah, and
like,
that string is. Oh, keep going, keep going.
I was just gonna say that's why like when you do like nice sounding chords all the way down at the bottom, they sound so rare because all the overtones are
Yeah.
clashing and they don't work. It's great.
Yeah, like if you play just a nice like. Well, my piano is out of tune, so. But then if you play that down here, it's very distant.
Chunky and
So.
weird.
Yeah. I'm going to put, oops, put the lid down. Ish.
Yeah. Does everyone remember the Cad Bane? It was a pretty striking theme from season 1. Yeah. That was really cool. The closing. Oh, I couldn't figure out. Okay, sorry, Jeannie. I feel bad for enjoying Cad Bane, but I just enjoy him. I was lost and confused when he said, "You give away more than you think." I couldn't figure out if he was being sympathetic or he was defending his turf. Oh, it's not spurs. It's all those coins he was carrying around to throw at the informant, jangling in his pockets.
I swear
That's funny.
we hear it again later.
I swear I heard it when
I
he's
don't
walking toward
think he's
Emery.
just.
Yes, it is a
It's
joke.
definitely Spurs. because he also wears them in one of the movies that he's in. But I don't think he's either defending his turf or being nice. He's being a little bit sympathetic, but basically he is like such a pro that he knows that if you're good at collecting information, you know that people who like he's informing her that hey, like you're not used to playing these like big strategy games with these big scary people who read into everything that you say, but you asking that question means that you care and
Hmm.
you're showing your cards in a poker
Mhm.
game. Like he's kind of saying like, hey, like I can see that he's kind of like giving her a little bit of free advice.
Yeah,
Like,
because
hey, don't ask
he doesn't
questions like
care.
that.
Yeah, he doesn't care who's winning as long as he's winning. So it's just kind of yeah. Don't ask these questions. Keep shush.
Yeah.
Just shush.
Also, I think we did hear that same theme in episode 11 as well, but Cad Bane wasn't there. It was when the creepy sniper shadow guy was doing his thing. And so I thought that was weird. Or like it made me think that maybe the theme isn't like specifically for Cad Bane. Maybe it's more like a hunter theme. Not like the character hunter, just
Right.
going hunting.
So what does everyone think? Like, I think it is for Cad Bane, but I also think that it's just very similar to a lot
I
of the
think
clone assassin stuff too.
yeah, I think it is for Cad Bane because it's in some semblance of that is in the old theme. It's
Yeah.
just not the theme. And then yeah, I'm gonna start calling him TNC assassin. Um, totally not crosshair. Uh, assassin, which now
Are you
my
still? Are
big
you genuinely still on that? I want to know if
I'm even worse on it because
can you catch everyone
Hemlock.
up? Catch everyone up to what
Okay,
you mean.
so to catch up because I wasn't here to spout this crazy conspiracy theory for the episode that we got to that I made all these examples of his music. Um, I am pretty sure that CX2, whoever this assassin is, definitely a clone of Crosshair because of his speech pattern is totally Crosshair. He's a sniper. It's totally Crosshair, and
But is a crosshair clone, not
he's a
crosshair, right?
clone. He's a clone of Crosshair
Okay.
because well here's where it gets more because this episode Hemlock, who fun fact I don't know if we ever said this but Hemlock is a poisonous plant. My dad's a botanist and he let me know about that one. A hemlock plant
Cool.
is a poisonous plant, and it looks like it totally it's a cool looking thing. Anyway, I didn't know that. So thank you, Dad. Thank you for that
Your dad's
fact.
a botanist?
He's
I
a
never knew
botanist.
that.
Oh yeah, he's a botanist. Yeah,
That's really cool.
he's a plant man. So he was like, yeah, I've been wondering about this name, and then he finally read it. He said in the description, he's like, oh, I know that plant. And anyway, so it's kind of interesting. Uh, so okay, so I'm convinced that 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 CX2 is totally not Crosshair, but Crosshair clone, and it's even worse now because on this episode, when we see Tarkin and his magically rolled R's, which I tried to like find a rule for, like which R's does he roll and which R's does he not roll, because it's almost every R, almost every
Yeah.
single one. But
Tarkin
when
gang?
he's talking to Tarkin, after he talks to Tarkin, he calls up totally not Crosshair Assassin, and he's like, "You got to go find Omega. You failed once. The other subjects, the other agents are not ready for the field yet." He says, and in the very beginning of this episode, when we first see Hemlock, he's looking at something that's making some sort of weird sound, and the door closes, and he's looking at a body on his thing. So I think in my crazy conspiracy theory, he has cloned the Bad Batch as special assassins, and we're gonna have to face off against Evil
Oh, like
Hunter,
another.
Evil Hunter, Evil Wrecker, Evil Crosshair, Evil Tech, and Evil Echo somehow,
I
or
actually
some
think this would
semblance of
be.
this.
I think I would like that. I think that would be
That'd
interesting.
be fun.
I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
Well, okay. Well, okay. Wait, we have a lot of comments. Jeannie says CX2 sounds like a Kiwi, not like a Brit. Like tech. And when I just looked up, does D. Bradley Baker voice CX2? Which of course he does.
Which of course he does. Yeah.
The first search result, the description, like the preview says, this is proof that CX2 is tech.
Is tech. Oh, that we think it's tech. Ooh, I hate that even more. Ooh.
I don't like that it's tech. But I didn't but whether it's tech or a clone of tech makes a big difference to me. It's clone of tech. Like, I think clone of tech is what they must be saying, right? I don't know. Okay, anyway.
He's just,
That's interesting.
I feel like he acts so much like Crosshair, though. He acts like him.
Yeah.
Even in, like, manner and in how he speaks. But if, ooh, I didn't even think of him being tech. Ooh, I hate that so much. That
A little too dark for me.
I'm mad now.
And then, let's see. Cad Bane has captured 4 sensitive children before, back in the Clone Wars series when he was Toto and Kato broke into the Jedi Temple and stole a holocron. And then Emery is asking where the child comes from, because if she knows, she could return the kid home in the future. Episode 9 and 10 makes me want to see Ventress battle Cad Bane, fighting over a child who is Force sensitive. However, we already got Cad Bane fight Fennec over Omega. I don't know who the because of Christina. What are you drinking? Looks yummy.
Ooh,
purple Gatorade Zero.
Oh,
there's
nice.
a theory. There's a theory here that says CX2 is Crosshair, and what we have is the clone. Ooh.
See, but
Oh gosh, that would be awful.
I feel that even if the Crosshair we know is the clone of the original Crosshair, I feel like that doesn't matter. It's still fine. It's someone with a different name, but it's the same person who we met in episode. Like, do you think they swapped them, or have we just always had, like, it's always been the same person, right?
I think it's people. Some people are saying online that his voice has been changing somewhere between X and or Tech and Crosshair. But also, if we think about it, CX2 Crosshair 2 Cross X.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty, pretty straightforward, actually.
I think CX2 is a new character, not Tech. Yeah, I think so too, Jeannie. But is Hemlock the poison that Socrates is forced to drink?
Hemlock Socrates.
There's an evil version of the Bad Batch in the Star Wars comics called Task Force 99.
Yeah, apparently it is Hemlock.
Oh, it is Hemlock. Okay.
Do you guys know what happens when you get poisoned by Hemlock?
No.
I looked that up just now.
What happens?
It is everything bad. It causes your entire nervous system to stop working, so you can't breathe. All of your functions, like you vomit, you go into a coma, you shake, you
geez.
like lose sensibilities. It's really, really unfortunate, but that's kind of funny because I feel like that gas kind of caused something like that Hemlock special yellow gas.
Fun. Chuck has a comment. The closing door music out at 11:29 had a Death Star motif vibe, and I do recall that there were a lot of evil sounding fanfares.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
especially in the next episode.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have other stuff from this episode?
I have a voice actor moment, the same one that Justin was just talking about when Tarkin calls.
Mm-hmm.
And Tarkin calls. I think that this scene might be like one of the best, like it helped me realize one of Hemlock's key character traits, which is his inhalations. If you listen to the part where he's basically telling Hemlock, I'm sorry, so Tarkin is just is basically doing his best to insert himself into the project, and Hemlock is like not even pretending to play along with him and just being like, no, all we need is funding. But he makes a point to inhale as if he actually like I feel like his inhalations in between his words actually convey pleasure at parrying Tarkin's attempt or excitement. Like they're excited. They're
Hmm.
like they're not just like normal inhalations. By normal, I mean they're not inhalations for the purpose of inhaling. They're inhalations that actually convey how deeply excited Hemlock is. Uh,
Like he's
uh,
sadistic.
yeah, yeah, totally. Let me, if I want, I should probably.
Jeannie says, ugh, hemlock inhalations. Thank you. I hate them.
That is interesting because now we got to really pay attention to them because that gives away. I almost want to go back now and listen for all those. Kind
Me
of gives
too.
away like
Totally.
moments when he's excited or like tense. I mean, it's interesting. He's starting. We're seeing these tiny little like he's losing his grip a little bit. We're seeing these little
Right. So maybe that he's
cracks in his
losing
wall.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
ever since Omega got captured or escaped, he's been kind of.
That'll do it to you.
So, did everyone catch the klaxon?
Yep. Which was a little higher and a little less bassy than
Yeah.
normally, or like woofy kind of a thing. Maybe that's for the children, but it must be really annoying to work on one of these like imperial things and the klaxon just like going off for anything and everything.
Yeah.
Under attack, escaped person, door breached, anything is this alarm.
Was it the same klaxon as the first Death Star in Rogue One?
Mm, they've all
Perhaps.
been pretty similar.
I feel like
It's
okay.
still that wah, wah,
Here, I'll put
ah,
a
you
link to the
know,
one that I'm
bird call.
sort of like this. It's kind of like on
Ugh,
this one was
I-
slightly lower pitched though, I feel. Just sometimes it's easy to hear like, oh, that's the same one as
it's
A
very
New
similar
Hope
to
or
that one. Yeah, it had a higher pitch to it, like a higher, thinner. That's a better word for it. It's thinner sounding
yeah, it
than
was like
the woof, woofy kind of
yeah.
lower klaxon alarm.
Yeah. I wonder if sound people have tweeted about it at all. But anyway, I have one more thing from this episode, which is let's see. Well, there's a lot of things that I just didn't transcribe that is just like because there's so much music in this. But then there is a moment which is not a new theme, but I just thought it was an eerie rendition of it, which was let's see. It's like two violins.
Hmm.
So sorry, my bow's not tightened. Ha ha ha. And the lower voice is going. Anyway, it's like the sparseness of it. It's at 232. Because I don't know, hearing it on synth is one thing, but then hearing it on just like two measly violins is like
Measly.
it's like I don't know if I wanted to hear that. It's a little
Huh.
too intimate evil.
Vulnerable sounding.
Yeah. Like he could crush your neck at any moment. Like he's just holding you there. Anyway, I think we covered episode 10.
Great episode.
Such a good episode.
Yeah. Okay, episode 11.
Diegetic music. Right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
We did
Very,
it.
very, very, very short. Which made me wonder, have we heard this one before? Or is this like new? it had like a shredding like violin tremolo thing happening, and this like it's so short you can barely like make out what it is. It sounded like a guitar solo for a second.
If we had heard it before, where do you think we would have heard it?
I feel like Sid's bar or something, like, or some. It's always a bar, right? But it's not like.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where does it appear?
I think it's like around 1 minute, right? It's like very in the background.
There's some of that, yeah. And then she opens the door to.
Oh, yes, like 130, 140.
140.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Does anyone recognize it from somewhere else?
Never mind.
don't,
It's not
but
a
it was
tremolo
cool.
violin. It's like a brrr, but it's like a like a percussive kind of
Yeah.
ratcheted kind of thing.
Yeah, it kind of
And it's
sounded
got a
video
jam
gamey too.
feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a cyclic kind of music thing where like everybody can just kind of dance along and it escalates and escalates and it's like a theme variations. I got all of that, I suppose, from that.
2 seconds of.
But then we do hear it again in a different, like farther away, right? Right after.
Yeah, but she comes back out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
After those
recognize it from
violin
something else.
parts.
I think it's constantly in the background. It's just so reverbed and like filtered to sound in the distance that it's like I feel like they put it under the music, like all the rest of the music and sound design, just farther in the back.
I can see that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm curious to hear like the full thing if they did make that.
Again, the great task of make us a full 2-minute track so that we can put 2 seconds of it somewhere in here, but it needs to sound, authentic and real.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to jump in to something from this?
To this episode?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the big note that I had for this one, at least if we're going in order of like the episode itself, kind of like we get more of Crosshair 2's music, which when he says like got eyes on target, we're hearing a lot of that, a lot of great conversation. We hear a weird Omega theme. I say it's weird just because it's different, but there, when she's talking to
Leanna,
I couldn't remember her name. Yeah, we have this.
We'll get there for sure.
But I think my favorite part was when the Empire arrived during this episode.
That was pretty good.
That was a pretty epic moment,
especially
when we have
in the room.
What's the elephant?
Kylo Ren's theme.
Oh yeah, well, there's that.
Oh.
Yep. Well, I'm also thinking that they brilliantly did that moment when they all kind of like look up. They realize what's happening. Like, we got to go now kind of a moment. And we get this like tension build in the orchestra. And everyone just kind of hears a little something and looks up, and the shadow and that was so good. Great reveal. To hear those big horns, Empire chords of doom come in, and then we get this. Hold on, it's not a very good rendition, but it's like we get this. With the
that was it. Yeah, I definitely made a note of that part because
as it comes in. I thought it was very heavy metal. I'm a huge metal fan, so when that came in, I was like, yeah, boom, boom, boom. And then there's like a little moment when Crosshair 2 is talking, and it's this. Everything just dies down for a little bit, and it's just and then it just gets back into the with all the other synths and stuff like that. That was a really cool moment. People screaming. You got the Imperial stormtroopers marching and destroying everything, and evil Crosshair is. I love what did he say? I could do worse. I haven't even started yet. I haven't done anything. He's such a Weasley. You've destroyed all of our stuff. I just merely prevented her escape. You know, you destroy. He did that earlier too, right? When he shut that ship down, and the stormtrooper, the commander, was like, "Why did you do that? You shouldn't have done that." He's like, "I prevented her escape." What do you want me to do?
Yeah, they got different prior tastes.
my favorite part was
Matthew,
Crosshair's synth beat sequence theme in that episode. I was unfortunately correct that we got the Scouring of the Shire for Pabu.
I immediately thought of you, Matthew, when we got to this point, and I turned to my partner while we were watching. And I was like, "It's the Scouring of the Shire," and my partner's like, "The what?" I was like, then I had to explain what Scouring of the Shire was because it doesn't appear in the films, but
I don't know what it is. It's from Lord of the Rings, though.
it's from Lord of the Rings. It's spoiler alert for those who have not read the book but have seen the movies. After the ring is destroyed in the movies, or at least in the story, they go back to the Shire to find out that it's been overrun. In the movies, we just go back and everyone's happy. But in the book, we go back and there's like one last stand with the hobbits and a couple other members as they like take back the Shire. That's this like this. It's basically just destruction of the Shire. Oh, the drum machine. That was the Electron model samples. I will type that in. That's one of my favorite instruments that I own. I love that thing so much. You can do so much with it.
So, gosh, there's so much music in here. Okay,
I know.
there's so much music. Okay, where to start? Okay. First of all, the CX2 music is very similar to the like Clone Conspiracy thumping music, and there's so much music associated with CX2 in this episode where I'm like, I wonder if, like, I am having a hard time separating perhaps what intentional themes are supposed to be, but I guess it also at the same time doesn't matter, because CX2 also has the like, if not the. There's also just the. Yes.
Right.
Sounds better when you do it. And then there's.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is, it seems like variations on the same thing. And then the new melody that we got was like. More like. And then. So basically, it's going down a half step and then going down a minor sixth with like synthy stuff in the back, which that wasn't even like, it got even closer to Kylo Ren at some point.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah. So here's an example of one of this, a thumpy synth, and then there's the, let's see, what's another one? There's this theme, yeah.
Pulsy synthy stuff, steady.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I wasn't gonna write all that out. Yeah. And then there's also another CX2 moment where CX2 is approaching Pabu. And it's like, it's actually a really nice brass moment. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
Sounded better. It sounds better in context with like the brass and all the stuff in the background. But yeah, I
I
don't
was gonna
know. I don't
say
know if it's a tenuous connection, perhaps. But you know, there is that minor second and minor sixth. That's something. It's something, right?
totally. Did you? Well, yeah. I mean, did this melody appear elsewhere? This. The one that you were just talking about.
Yeah, that's a good question because I don't know for sure. It's just the first time I noticed it enough to write it down. But it easily could have. I could have missed it before. And it's only because I was paying attention to CX2's music specifically. So I don't know. Why do you
Interesting.
recognize it?
Well, there's a moment towards the end. There's Crosshairs Miss Shot, which had this big kind of epic willy or willy not kind of progression happening. But I feel like there's another big moment with this kind of big brassy. But that's what I'm thinking of, though.
Yeah, there's
I
yeah,
really
when the
liked that moment when Crosshair tried to make the shot
Mm-hmm.
and didn't succeed. That was a really beautiful, or it was just very well done orchestrally and everything. It was,
yeah. Oh, it's a greatest instrument. One of my favorite. It's a great instrument. Great instrument. Okay. Um, yeah, let me see if I have notes for that section. Like what is this around like 17?
Yeah, because it's right after they talk. They search Omega.
Yeah, because then we have this.
Oh, I'm thinking around 20,
Okay.
20 minutes or a little
We'll
after
get back
that.
to that.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. After Omega is escorted away.
yep.
Okay. Give me a timestamp because there is another interesting thing that happens there.
Well, because we have this, it's a conversation between Omega and Crosshair, which does this kind of push and pull thing with the low strings and this high bell thing as they're
Yeah.
arguing. But what I'm thinking of is right around 2010.
Okay.
We get these
Oh.
two bam, bam, which is reminiscent of like very old Crosshair music. In a way, it's kind of like
Oh, it's
Crosshair
like
back in action.
boom,
Yeah,
boom.
boom.
Mm.
Which reminded me of the sound that I loved and you all hated so much during season 1, where he shot, where we have the scene where he snipes or shoots the senator, following orders, kind of a thing.
Oh, did we hate it?
Um, yeah, you all hated it so much, and then I was like, ah. I recreated it and everything because it was so
oh,
powerful. Um,
oh,
um, so it's like they did it twice here. It feels like it was that same kind of sound, if not similar. So it's like Crosshair back in action. He's like gotta do the thing, like, and then we get these chord, these like this strings and brass motion of like na da 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 ba, ba, ba.
In this episode, or in the one we hated?
And
Apparently.
no, this episode.
Oh,
I
okay.
said
Okay.
right here at like 2010.
You didn't hate the episode, you just hated that moment.
I didn't hate it here. What do y'all think of CX2's music or Crosshair's music or like the action music in general in this episode?
If it's towards this end, it was really great. I thought it was very emotionally driven and gave us that. You're laughing because you're gonna hate it, aren't you, Christina?
No, 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 no.
I'm kidding. No, it's just emotionally driven, and it had me on the. It helped keep you on the edge of your seat of like, will he make it? Will he not make it? Everything's lost now, kind of a thing. And a lot of the other action music, I sometimes don't pay as much of attention to because it gets lost in the sound effects
Right.
and the sound design, where this one was very prominently, this moment was very musically driven.
Yeah. What about you, Christina?
Yeah, I think one of the main things I hear you can hear in this moment that we're talking about at like 21:10, which is we've got like the kind of stuff going on, but the mid-level instruments were all just kind of going ba 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 ba, like they're stepping up. There's a lot of
Mm.
upward step motions, which really help, is like a really good painting tool, I guess, to just get people's hopes up or get you to the edge of your seat or to convey that the characters on screen are like reaching for something and setting the expectation of hoping, we're all hoping that they're gonna get to the top of that scale, only to not,
Yeah.
only for it to fail over and over again, really, because this episode was like a lot of them failing, right? It was a lot of them like trying to do something, having a chance, build up, fail. So I don't know, but I guess that doesn't quite answer the Crosshair music theme, but that was how I feel about the action music overall.
Yeah. And I wasn't exactly sure of which music was exactly Crosshairs versus other people's because it all kind of ran together.
Mhm.
But overall, I thought it was quite effective. I'm very intrigued by the not Kylo Ren thing. Badger found Ventress's ship in the cave, barking at it for Omega banking or for Omega parking it for Omega. I don't know, for Omega to find. I think that at the end of the episode, Badger also found Clone X's ship for Hunter. Maybe Hunter hit on the ship. Maybe he placed a tracker. I don't know how I don't know how they did that still because they never really resolved the thing about like, well, they're going to find a tracker. So I'm guessing that they did figure something else out, but that wasn't shown on screen, perhaps.
I'm wondering about Omega's hat.
Mm.
That was my dad's theory, is that it's in her hat.
Oh, interesting.
She did bring it. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, because she first got that hat with season 2, right? Ish. The first time we kind of saw that hat appear or some headgear.
Mm.
So I'm wondering if, like, Tech secretly put a tracking device on that thing to always know where Omega was. I don't know. It's not out of. I mean, if Tech had to teach her all this stuff, I would have been like, yeah, let's put a little tracking device on that helmet and make sure that she's always wearing it.
I think I'll be disappointed if that's the answer.
Yeah.
They didn't check the tracker Omega handed over. Unless it was something that like Tech did, in which case for some reason it would be okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tech did it a long time ago, and then they remembered, and it's like Tech helping one last time in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
I think would be sweet.
Here's a bit of music, if you can guess where it is. It's a string and brass unison.
Ooh.
Sorry, I did it in bass clef instead of treble, and I was like, that sounds wrong. Okay, there. It's like an emotional, it's like just tutti unison. With trumpet treads.
Was this? I'm probably so wrong. Was this the destruction of the Marauder?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Goodbye, Marauder.
Yep. It was like one of those moments where like the tutti spelled like spelled like this. When you hear like when you hear a tutti moment where they're all like in unison and together, tutti means together in Italian. It's often for like an emotional, emphatic moment, like the potential death of someone or like, something tragic happens. Yeah. And then, okay, so let's talk about not Kylo Ren for a second.
Not Kylo Ren.
Yeah, so we have this thing that goes. Let's see. And then. And okay. So Kylo Ren, okay, let me just recap Kylo Ren's themes. So Kylo Ren has several themes associated with him. There's the like right? There we go. But then there's also I'm going to actually pull up Frank Lehman's catalog. You can just see this better. Listed in the complete catalog of the musical themes of Star Wars. The B theme, so the one I just played is considered the aggressive theme, but then there is a B theme. I'm just going to put this up right here, and then I'm also going to tell you can download this for free at franklehman.com/Star Wars, and everyone should do that. So there's also, just for completion's sake, I'm just going to also, there's also a C theme, but what I really want to look at is the B theme, which is and if in The Last Jedi we hear it a lot, especially when like that moment where like Snoke is talking to him and like just being like, "You're trash," before he throws the helmet. Anyway, it is definitely a big Kylo Ren theme, and here we actually have like, I don't know, it's up a half step, so just try to adjust.
Ooh.
And it's like extremely similar chords. There's like a tiny bit of difference in the second chord, but it's actually rhythmically it feels similar because it's like literally it's three quarter notes. Like look at the second half of this actually. The second half. One dee 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 dee. Then you hear dee. I think it's a coincidence, but it is interesting. I find it interesting.
I like your coincidence yet interesting assessment.
I was gonna. Nah.
What?
No, I'm just remembering because Kylo's not. I'm just clearly he's not going to appear. Clearly he's not going to appear because timeline.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he's not
Did
alive.
you hear? I mean, while it doesn't relate to Kylo, or it's too many degrees of separation from Kylo to be connected. Did you hear the theory about there's been some conspiracy theory postulated after this episode came out, which is that so the idea is like, okay, so here's the theory. It's that Palpatine did successfully create some clones, one of whom became Rey's father. What if Rey's mother is Omega? And that's how Rey is force sensitive. That's the theory. Which just, one more degree of separation gets to Kylo.
Okay. I'll
say that was postulated.
Okay.
That implies so many terrible things. So
I love
not go down that road.
Thanks, I hate
it. that all sorts of terrible things. So let's not. Ooh,
Omega
I hate
marries
that.
one of
I hate that one
clones.
too.
That's how it works.
Who came up with that?
I don't know who came up with it. I just know who I heard it from.
Oh, okay.
Which is Screen Crush.
Okay.
binary.
Which is, yeah, who does not look like James.
Who I still think looks like James. They're both. But I also recognize that, like, I don't use good. I don't have a very nuanced way of looking at people's faces. It's more like has facial hair, eye color. That's it.
He doesn't look like James.
Okay. I'm not gonna stand by it too hard though, because also
Yeah.
it's a really minor point.
I'm just looking now because I've never. I'm
Yeah.
just catching up. I'm just catching up on this comparison.
Yeah. Matthew, the theory that Omega is Ray's mom is trash, in my opinion. Just no mincing words there.
No. Oh no.
Apparently the
no.
timeline lines up though. That's the support for the theory, of course.
I'm sure it does.
Thank you for sharing.
Speaking about Omega, Omega. Unless there's more to not Kylo Ren.
No, that's it. Just these things can happen is the point, and it is kind of following a chord progression that is. Kylo Ren is also not the only thing that has a similar chord progression, but it is. I think it is I think it is a coincidence, but it is one of those hilarious ones that is like actually very close. So
right,
a little awkward.
Right. It's sad to see the Marauder destroyed. Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to be very, very angry if that's how Wrecker was taken out of the show, because I've seen that trope before so many times where the random character we all love just gets taken out by that mysterious bomb, and you know what I mean. I've just seen that so many times.
That would have been unsatisfying.
I would have been very unsatisfying for Wrecker, so I'm glad they didn't do that. They didn't do him dirty like that. He deserves glory. If he's gonna go, he deserves like glory, holding up a wall or like lifting a ship for people to like. He deserves like the glorious ending. Well, they all do. I think they all deserve a glorious ending if they're all gonna go. Sometimes it feels a little bit more likely each episode that this is the direction we're gonna head. Is that they're all.
As Senior Captain Thrawn says, I say Senior Captain.
Yes.
That's when he's which is dependency.
Every episode.
He loves to say this to his enemies. He says, "Or suffer the humiliation of becoming collateral damage." Like, that's not a good way for Wrecker to go. Wrecker was not meant to be collateral damage.
No, he's not meant to be collateral damage. So we get, but where I was going with this, which has nothing, actually, unfortunately, nothing to do with Wrecker, but there's this. There was a moment right before. I really liked the moment with Crosshair and Omega, arguing about what to do next. And Omega's like, "I got to give myself in," and Crosshair's like, "But no, because Crosshair's they've both had such insane journeys, and I love the fact that they've oddly become the closest, having spent the least time with each other. And Crosshair is like doing everything he can to be like, but you'll go back to Tantus. Like that scares him, not him going back, but her going back, in a way. And, or just remember, and he's traumatized by that whole experience still. And he's impressed that Omega can come up with these plans as reckless as they are. But, he's kind of like, you're right. We have no other choice. This is the best way to do it. But the music there was a very like it was cheesy in the application, but well done in the execution, where we kind of have this very high bell tone of Omega talking, and then Crosshair can put but no, and then these strings come in, and then blah blah blah, these little mix, and then it's just like them like going back and forth until there's kind of a better resolve mix between the two of them by the end, because they realize what's happening. So it's a very like, what I mean by cheesy application, there's that term in movie music, Mickey Mousing something. It's not
Yeah.
quite Mickey Mousing, but Mickey Mousing something is like the actions put to the music, boom, ba-dum, 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 of like a big heavy character walking, or something like that. But this was like very like, no, it's Crosshair, but it's Omega. No, it's Crosshair, but it's Omega. Kind of a little bit of that going on, but it worked very well.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. It worked
That's funny.
very, very
It's
well.
Crosshair.
But it's
Aw.
Crosshair.
Someone please clip that. It's Cross, but it's Omega.
It had a little bit of that going on, but it fit very, very well, kind of a thing. Sometimes you got to go for those tried and true techniques, and it just
Yeah.
it just works. Like every time you go underwater, you got to have a harp going.
Yeah.
It just
And
works.
a choir going. "Ah,"
Yeah.
for sure. So another cool thing, not cool thing, but like two other things from this episode. One is, did you recognize the same music as Tech Sacrifice? At
Yeah.
2038, we have the same music we get when Tech sacrifices himself.
Right as they're flying off.
Yeah. So here is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Except it's a different key, but yeah. C, B flat, E flat, D flat. And then just the Tech sacrifice from season 2, episode 16. To remind. I'll do it higher. Etc. I marked F sharp, but it should be F sharp minor. Okay. Sorry. But yeah, which was like kind of an emotional cue to bring back in, I think. Definitely an emotional theme to bring back in. Making me think that, like, I don't know, maybe she's thinking of Tech in that moment. Like, Tech did this. I'm going to have my own Tech moment, but hopefully not die.
Well, it was mentioned before that it was very similar to the Marauder being destroyed.
Oh, right.
In the comments.
Oh, I didn't see that. Sorry.
Where was that? Tech's death theme. Yeah, Max pointed that out. It was very, very similar. Like the Marauder was destroyed.
Yeah, it is pretty similar. Like in that the first, I'll put the other one up. Marauder destroyed. So one of them would be like kind of whole steps between the first few notes. And then the other one would be half step. But still, you're going down stepwise, and then the next one both goes down, and then the next one both goes up. So I think that's a really good observation. It's different, but it feels derived or something. Whereas the other one's a major 7th is in Marauder Destroyed. The sacrifice is a major 6th, but still, like, the shape is the same. Down, down, big leap down, big leap up. Yeah, that's really good, Max.
Very, very smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really great way to put it. And I really liked at the end of this moment, not the Marauder point, but this text sacrifice music in this episode when CX2 Crosshair 2 is getting away, because it builds and builds and builds, and then there's just this whoom, silence, and the first thing you hear is target acquired. That was so cool. That was a good use of like built silence and then just like target acquired. I have succeeded my mission, and I'm on my way, kind of a way. Um, it's a really good moment of like sinister silence, and just his voice, which again to me is just Crosshair with a modulated frequency kind of a thing, but it's just so well, like I'm listening to it again. It's just so matter of fact. That's what's scary about him. It's like he has no emotion when he speaks. Very
Right.
little, if anything, and it's just so
Yeah.
dead on, straight ahead.
Speaking of modulation, what did you think of Cad Bane's voice in the last episode? Did you feel that to me, it felt maybe more muted than I'm used to?
It's funny. I feel like sometimes they can't like decide what to do with his voice,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it's like that heavily modulated, and sometimes it's just like very throaty. Just very like I'm good at my job, versus like this. I feel like when we first met him in Clone Wars, it was like very clearly a voice modifying thing, and then sometimes it just doesn't feel that way. That makes sense.
Yeah. I actually don't remember.
Because it's not as extreme. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. It's not because I went back and like tried to and revisited the season 1 uh, appearance of Cad Bane, and for some reason it felt really like it felt more extreme. It felt like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
interesting because you get all these different voice modulating, and they're all some sort of frequency modulation or amplitude modulation going on. But even like the medical robot in the episode before this, I was talking to Emery, has that kind of modulated English voice. I forgot to mention that about like the last episode. I really liked that droid that she would ask questions and it would kind of like spurt out this weird little and then like answer her, and then just like these like little like groans to itself. But there was a moment when she was like, where's Jax, where's that specimen? It just because it's like it is standard procedure for things to take for her little pause at 2 days or 2 cycles for like such a like a automated response thing, like insert answer here, um kind of a thing. And you have
You are the fourth
three
caller
unheard
in
messages.
line.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Very
Uh,
much like that. It was great, but it was the same kind of like pitch modulated or frequency modulated voice that we hear on a lot of these like voice um changers.
yeah.
But we didn't get that from Cad Bane, is what I'm trying to say. We don't. Sometimes we hear that, sometimes we don't with him, I feel.
Yeah. What did you think of the music? I want last thing, like the last big note I have is the one of Leanna and Omega's Goodbye,
Hmm.
which you mentioned it was like Omega's theme but weird.
Yeah, the one that I was thinking of was like that was Omega's theme, but weird was when they were, yeah, the first time they were saying goodbye, when she was putting, because there's a moment later when they're like, I'm scared, what do we do? And they meet up again at the very end. But yeah, when they were saying goodbye, and she's putting Tex goggles in the museum. What did she be putting? Was there at Leanna's house?
I wasn't sure what that was. I think she was just like giving it.
There's like a plucked instrument.
Yeah, there's a couple of
Right?
things. Yeah, but it was a mega. It was this nice little thing, and then it kind of becomes like do 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 do. Had like a little lilt to it.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo.
Okay. Let's attempt to play this. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So there's. Okay. Let me set the scene. Let me set the stage. There's violins, Trembling. So just imagine that that's continuing. And then there's, yeah, thank you. And then, and then the violin kind of changed to this. Yeah, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And then oboe. Oh, text sacrifice theme again. And then. And then. Okay, sorry. Maybe a little higher.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
I like
unresolved
that.
at the end.
What did you say, Justin? And then Christina?
Oh, sorry. I said it's so unresolved at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the intervallic content at the end. And I feel like it connects a lot to overtones because that low, was it an A or an A flat
A flat.
on the bottom? An A flat, so then C natural would be the overtone, the first overtone that you hear. But
Mhm.
but Omega's theme then falls down to the D right then, which is I think where that unsettling sound comes from,
Where is that?
other than the G. The very last measure.
Oh, yeah. It's like a suspension. It's like a.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you already hear that C as an overtone to that low A,
Oh,
so you
okay.
hear that dissonance. Like it sounds more dissonant when the A is present.
Mm. I didn't. So, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, okay. Do you think it came out more that it was on like acoustic instruments?
Probably.
I
I
felt,
liked.
yeah,
It felt
it
like
had that
different. The
acoustic.
instrumentation felt really. I don't know. We're not used to getting piano moments like this.
We don't. You're right. It's a lot of like strings or electric pianos or like these like weird half synth things that are not buzzy but still kind of smooth and glassy. But just to have straight piano for this, and just like with even Crosshair or not Crosshair, Cad Bane,
Yeah.
just a straight piano.
What this most reminds me of in Star Wars, at least, is the music at the end of Solo with
Mm.
Kira and Han saying goodbye. Or, well, okay, Han doesn't know that. Han doesn't know that she's gonna leave him. But when they're like, "We're gonna start a new life," basically.
We're gonna start a new life. Yes.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, it reminds me of the music there because I feel like it's like sentimental piano is something we don't. It just feels different to have it. Especially these like these kind of jazzy like sevenths and suspensions and stuff you know, like to go. That type of thing feels different. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. Yeah.
That's great.
Any other
It's
notes from this? Please continue.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's just a really interestingly. The timbre of it all threw me off. I think why I said it was weird because it was like you said, it was a flute and oboe in thirds, such as such like a piercing combo, um,
Yeah.
and to be supported by a much brighter instrument than normal, perhaps. much brighter sounding figure.
Mm-hmm.
Piano, natural piano.
I'm updating my notes to now reflect that I didn't write that Czech sacrifice was in that. Okay, good. Now my notes are complete. Yeah.
Let me check my notes real quick. Unfortunately, I need to run off to work, but for cool things that I missed in my notes, diegetic music, Omega theme during Friend Talk, yep, totally not Crosshair music is just epic in this all throughout this entire synthy nice. The Empire Reveal, horns, percussion, Crosshair mode. Okay, we did that. Crosshair on the Run, older Crosshair music, we talked about that. Epic music for Missed Shot, Silence for Target Acquired, ending Chugga Chug music. That we had 2 episodes with not the standard Bad Batch theme at the end. Last episode, we went back to the Tantus ticking time bomb theme and captivation theme. What's the word I'm looking for?
Captivity?
Yeah, and captivation, captivity theme. And this one was this very like and it had this big like long theme kind of playing.
Yeah,
maybe that's where I heard
the Bad Batch theme.
It's like the bad. Maybe that's what I was thinking earlier in the stream about when you were showing us that big sweeping theme for CX2. Maybe that's what I was referencing. I think it was the end where that sounded familiar. I don't know if it's the same though. I don't think it was, but it was like a dark Bad Batch kind of a theme. But yeah, I thought that was a great ending and great 2 episodes with so much interesting music. And yeah, unfortunately I gotta run. How many episodes next week?
I think just one.
Is it just another 1 episode?
Yeah.
I might not be here next week, so I will see everybody, at least with examples as always, but I will see everybody in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Thanks, friends. See y'all soon.
Bye.
Well, I feel like we're just about done. That's actually all the notes.
That was basically the ending.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another live stream about the Bad Batch. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes left. 1 per week. Very good. Yeah. So I guess we'll see you next week to talk about episode 12, season 3. And yeah. Bye. Bye, Christina.
Bye, Xander. Ya da 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 da.